Good afternoon, everybody. These are going to be our notes for 2.6, which are arithmetic sequences. Our learning target is I can read and use function form to identify terms of a sequence. We have 3 vocabulary terms. Really, 2 of them are a term and then one of them is a formula. But the first vocabulary word is an arithmetic sequence. And an arithmetic sequence is a sequence of numbers where you add or subtract to get from term to term. So we are specifically talking about adding or subtracting to get from term to term. So I'll give you a really, really basic example. 2, 4, 6, 8. What are you doing to get from term to term? You are adding 2 each time. So this right here is an example of an arithmetic sequence, okay? A common difference is the number that you are adding or subtracting by to get from term to term. So the common difference is what that plus 2 is right there, okay? Adding or subtracting by to get from term to term. And then the recursive formula are going to be these 2 things here. That should be A1 equals. I'll fix that before I give you the notes like for reals, okay? A of 1 is going to be a number. Okay, and this number is going to be the first term in your sequence. Okay, and I'll show you what that looks like when we get to some examples. It's going to look really funky, but I promise you this is like one of the easiest things that you will do in Algebra 1. I promise. It's going to look weird, but I promise it's not that bad. And then this next equation is going to look like A of n equals, and then you're going to do an A of n minus 1 plus d. Okay, or I guess this could technically be minus d. All right, this part right here represents your previous term or the term before, okay? You don't have to do anything with it, I promise. You just put A times n minus 1 every time. You don't put anything in for A. You don't put anything in for n. You leave it alone. It just says A times n minus 1 every time, and it just represents the previous term. And then your plus or minus d right here is your common difference, which is what we just talked about up here. Okay, it's the number that you are adding or subtracting by to get from term to term. So what this A of n equation is telling you is it's telling you to take your previous term, or the term before, the one that you're looking for, and you are going to add or subtract whatever number you have been adding or subtracting by to get your next term. Okay, so we're going to write a sequence from given information. It says, write the first 4 terms of a sequence whose starting value is 3, and you add 5 each time to get to the next term. So if my starting value is 3, that means that I'm going to put a 3 in my starting value. And then I'm supposed to take my previous term and add 5 to get to my next term. Well, what is 3 plus 5? It is 8. And then you're going to take that term and you're going to add 5. Which gets you 13. And then you're going to add 5 again, and that's going to get you 18. And now you have created a sequence where you know your starting value and you know what your common difference was. My starting value was 3, and my common difference is plus 5, because that's what I was doing to get from term to term. So part A says, what is the first term in your sequence? It was the number 3. We call that our A of 1, and we write it like this. A of 1 equals 3. It was the first term in my sequence. I'm writing it down there. What are you doing to get from term to term? You are adding 5. We call that our common difference, and we write that like A of n equals A of n minus 1 plus 5. So both this part and this part come together to create your recursive formula. So you will have your A of 1 equals 3, and then your A of n equals your A of n minus 1 plus 5. So if you want to get real technical, you're plugging in a number for this and a number for that, and everything else just stays the same. That's it. That's all we're doing. Okay? I promise it's not that bad. What happens if I actually give you the recursive formula and I want you to write the amount of terms in the sequence? Let's do, okay, we'll do this blue. It wants me to list the first 5 terms in the sequence. So because it wants 5 terms, I'm going to draw 5 blanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A of 1 tells me what my first term is. So that's going to go in the first blank. That's -4. And then this thing at the back of my second equation tells me what I'm doing to get from term to term. I am supposed to be subtracting 8. So in my calculator, I'm going to do -4 minus 8, and I get a -12. And then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to subtract 8, which will be -20. And then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to subtract 8, and that's -28. And then I'm going to do it one more time, and I don't know that off the top of my head, and that is -36. And here we have the first 5 terms in my sequence. Yay! Let's do it again. Given the recursive formula below, list the first 3 terms in the sequence. Because I'm looking for 3 terms, I'm going to draw 3 blanks. A of 1 is my first term, and that's going to tell me what goes first. And then whatever's at the back here, this +3 is telling me what I'm doing to get from term to term. So I'm going to do 12 plus 3, which is 15, and then 15 plus 3 is 18. Now, I do want to come on here and tell you that this could also be written as A of n equals 3 plus A of n minus 1. So I keep saying that it's at the back, but sometimes it can be at the front. It doesn't really matter. All right, and then the last section, these notes are short today. It says writing recursive form from a sequence. So for each of the sequences below, list the first term, the common difference, and then write the recursive formula. Okay, so we have 3 things going on. We got a problem here, and a problem there. So number 1, I need to figure out what I'm doing to get from term to term. I need to fix this. This should be a 4. Okay, I'll fix that before you have it. Don't you worry. All right, it asks for the first term in my sequence. The first term in my sequence is 10. And then it says, what is the common difference? What am I doing to get from term to term? I'm subtracting 2. So the common difference is a -2. So the way that I would write that in my recursive formula is I take whatever A of 1 is. Oh, I did it again. It's got to be equal signs. Man, I'm sorry, y'all. I really struggled with these notes making them today, or whenever I made them. Okay, so A of 1 is supposed to be 10, and then A of n is going to be A of n minus 1, and then I bring down whatever my common difference was, which was -2. So this goes here, and this goes there. And I'm done. Let's look at my second example. My first term is -6. My common difference, let's see, what am I doing to get from term to term? It looks like I'm adding 6, so my common difference is +6. So A of 1 equals -6, and then A of n equals A of n minus 1 plus 6. This comes down here, this goes right there. Last one, number 3, my first term is -100. Disgusting, that's a really big number. And then what am I doing to get from term to term? It looks like I'm subtracting 50. So we've got A of 1 equals -100. And then I've got A of n equals A of n minus 1 minus 50. And I have completed my 2.6 notes assignment. So I will fix all of those mistakes that I had in here prior to you seeing it. I apologize. Everybody makes mistakes, even your teachers. Anyways, if you have any questions over arithmetic sequences and how to write the recursive formula from an arithmetic sequence, or how to write an arithmetic sequence from recursive formula, please go see your teacher during your teacher's normal scheduled tutorial times, and I will see you in the next